I'm Harrison Marlowe, and in the production my roles involved director, cameraman, photographer, sound guy, composer and actor.
And I'm Michael Carledge, co-director, editor, writer, art and design, and I starred as the protagonist, George Frost, in our game Malevolence. Malevolence is the story of a man whose family are killed by the mob and he's framed for the murders. After 10 years in prison, he escapes, and with only one mission in mind, and that's to kill the mob family who killed his. We followed conventions with our trailers when we had the title card at the end of it. The title card is the part that shows the title of the game along with the production studios, copyright information and the website. If you look at existing trailers for games, you'll see that at the end of the trailer they do show this title card, and so we went along with this convention so that our trailer looked believable.
We both challenged and stuck to conventions by having to film our trailers in live action. As most video games tend to use either CGI, such as games like Dead Island, to make a trailer, or use in-game footage, such as Max Payne or Uncharted. But obviously, as we don't have the production value to make a full video game or enough experience to create any CGI, we had to make a live action trailer, which, as I said, it challenged conventions, but also it's not uncommon for video games to do live action trailers, such as Halo Reach and Skyrim both did a live action trailer, both with elements of CGI and mainly live action parts.
We followed conventions by having music that fit the mood. In the first trailer we had Too Old to Die Young by Brother Dedge, which is like the up-tempo song to show the action in the game. Whereas in the second trailer we had sort of a contrasting mood. It was the music that Harrison composed, and it was like a slow guitar and bass tune that showed the emotional side of the game. So we wanted to convey that we had both action elements as well as story elements, and we did this partly through the music.
We wanted to convey that it is a very story-driven game. At any turn you can have an action sequence, so to speak, turn straight back into story-driven. Although this action sequence has happened, you've got to deal with the consequences of what's just happened, making it more of a realistic sort of, it's not just run and gun, that's it sort of thing, that's a level over, and to show that there are consequences to your actions.
We wanted our game to be based off the sort of old film noir movies, and more recently the film noir games that have been coming out, such as LA Noire and Saboteur. Film noir is known for its sort of dark, gritty atmosphere, as well as its quite in-depth stories. With film noir, you can tell that it's not exactly a happy world.
So we wanted to go with the conventions of film noir, with the long coat that George Frost wears. If you watch a film noir film, very often the protagonist, the antagonist as well, will wear sort of a trench coat and quite often a fedora sort of thing. So we wanted to keep that in mind, because we wanted this character to be dark, but we also saw the long coat as sort of an unconventional cape, and we wanted him to be seen as a sort of an anti-hero. He's doing the wrong things but for the right reason. It's the only way he knows how to get revenge for what happened to his family. So we wanted to the main thing for George Frost's character to be is sort of a Punisher type of character, of how he is recognised because of this long coat, and it's seen, at least it's hopefully meant to be seen, as a sort of cape, so you could quite easily recognise the sort of thing that was going for him with him, such as like obviously with the long coats as well. You've got the Punisher, you've got Rorschach, that sort of thing. You know who it is because of their costume.
Throughout the planning of our game, we always had in mind that we were trying to go for like the modern day film noir movie. So we would have the black and white and like not much colour to it, but with modern day technology.
It's a good sort of transition between the two. It'd be interesting to see something fall like that. That's why to have the black and white, like in the Saboteur,
Yeah.
having the black and white until someone's liberated, then colour comes to it. What I think we would have had in the game, which is what we tried to show through trailers, is what's happening real time, like modern time, like the time it's happening, the event is happening, it's in colour. So when it goes forward in time, like a flash forward, it's in black and white, showing that everything he does drains the life out of him. Everything's only in black and white. There's only two things: there's good and evil. There's killing people and not killing people. That's what we wanted to convey with the colour scheme of our game trailers.
We went against conventions with the general location in the garage. We kept all of the things that would make garage in the second trailer a family's garage, because we wanted it to seem like it was more real. If we'd gotten rid of everything, it would have just seemed like it was.
It would have upset the mise en scène. There wouldn't be anything in there. It would have just been
Yes.
completely.
Because obviously George Frost had a family, and he would have lost them, and the rest of his time would have been spent either like in court or in jail, since he was arrested for it. So he wouldn't have got rid of all the stuff. Plus he would have kept it there as some sort of memory of his family.
We supplied our own props for the filming of Malevolence. In terms of costume, the shovel in the second trailer, but the most important thing and the most eye-catching thing is the blue gun and how we decided to keep it blue. That was because we felt that we could have made it black, but we thought if we kept it blue, then it would not only reflect sort of the conventions of a comic book or a graphic novel, everything sort of really bright, but also the fact that, as we were talking about the life being sucked out of him, the only thing that he sees as being right, the right thing to do would be the gun, so that's the only thing that sort of gives him hope. So we wanted to keep that quite a vibrant colour to not only attract people's attention to the game case or to the colour of the gun, but so we know that it's through his eyes, the character's eyes, it's his only salvation.
So in the first trailer, we challenged conventions by having a full conversation between George Frost and his best friend, bartender Sam.
Same again, Sam.
We did this to show that George Frost wasn't alone, and we wanted Sam's role in the game to be sort of the informant. He's the owner of a bar, so he can keep his ear to the ground, and he can listen out for anybody that George Frost might want to target. In the game, he would play quite a large role, and he wouldn't really agree with what George Frost is doing because he doesn't want his friend to get hurt, but he also understands why he feels he has to.
We wanted to carry across the dark, gritty themes of our production onto our print artefacts, and we did this by having the dark colours always behind George Frost on the game case and the magazine advert. These dark colours are the sort of thing to represent his malevolence and show his dark backstory just from looking at the print artefacts alone.
A continuous link between the print artifacts and our game trailers was the Malevolence logo itself. It was a font that we got off dafont.com, and we chose it because we wanted a font that had sort of deterioration on it. And when we saw this font, we saw that it had the deterioration we were looking for, and it also had like the silhouettes of a city in the at the bottom of it. So that would represent the city that George Frost is in and how it is deteriorating because of all the crime that George Frost wants to get rid of. Because you'll notice in the industry they'll usually have the same font all the way across it, so that the font becomes a recognisable thing to do with that brand. If you look at things such as the Halo font, people will recognise the Halo font if you use it in different things, if they've played the Halo games. The same goes with the font from the Spider-Man movies and
Spider-Man games.
Spider-Man games.
We wanted our main elements of the trailers to be story driven, so we didn't have hardly any action sequences. But we wanted to show that in the game there would be action sequences, and to do this we put a gun on both the magazine advert and the video game case, and we were hoping that would show more the genre of the game, rather than just having our original game case, which was just George Frost's face on the front of the box. So by adding the gun we could show that there's a bit more life, a bit more action to the game.
For our audience feedback, we constructed a questionnaire which consisted of questions on the trailer itself, the game case and the magazine advert. We then displayed both the trailers and the print artifacts on a projector onto a class of about 20 people, and then asked them to fill the questionnaires in on what they thought, and then we used the results that came back from that to improve our own piece.
The general consensus was very positive. They did really enjoy the trailers, and they did like the print artifacts as well. Although they did say they really enjoyed them, thought they looked good, they also said there were some things that they would change, and from this we were able to actually edit or reshoot our trailers and mess around with our print artifacts to make them a lot better, to my opinion, and make them more preferable to our audience as well.
An example of one of these improvements was the conversation in the first trailer.
Say it again, Sam.
When people listened to it, they couldn't really understand it, and that was because we used the original recording that the video camera picked up, which had a lot of background noise in it. We fixed this by recording the voice separately on a voice recorder, and then just uploading that into the video and putting what we said over the top, so that people could understand what we were saying.
The audience also found it hard to read some of the writing on our magazine advert, although as it turned out this was just a problem with the projector. Once you have the actual print artifact in your hand, or you look at it on your own PC, the writing it's fine, it's really clear. The problem was it was a bit too bright on the projector, so we couldn't really fix that because it was already fixed.
The copyright information on the back of the game case was also a little blurred, but that was mostly because when you put it in Fireworks and then resize it, it sort of distorts the image. So there wasn't much we could do about that. I did try and clean it up as best I could. I think it's
readable.
It's readable now.
It's not hard to read. Another thing we picked up from the audience feedback that people didn't like was the second trailer. They said it didn't have enough going on in it. How it was originally, the trailer was just the whole 30 seconds of just torturing and killing the villain in the trailer, and people didn't like that, and so we went back to the storyboards and we had a look what we could do, and so instead we decided we'll keep some of the torture scene in, but we'll also add a burial scene, so we can do what we did with the first trailer and have it skipping forward in time, but rather it being all actiony as the first trailer was, we thought we'd keep it quite slow paced, and just to show that there are consequences to the action, so we can have sort of a story driven trailer. And once we did that, people much preferred the trailer once we cut all the just torturing out on that screen we had in it as well. So yeah, we'll fix the second trailer by reshooting it basically.
We use a lot of media technologies in our production, such as Blogger.com. This is where we stored our research into existing products. our planning stages, and even the final productions we part there. It was just a tool to allow us to show where we were, and
it was something we could refer back to if we ever needed to look up something we originally planned and thought, that's a good idea, we can maybe try and work that in. It's just, as much as it is for people to look at and see that we've done the research, it's also a good reference point to us to find out what we've done and what we need to do. We also used Microsoft Word to create our questionnaires for our audience. This was because it's just the quickest and easiest format to do it on, and that way we could get the same day we did the questionnaires and hand them out, we could get them back and get everything done quicker.
we did our print artifacts on Fireworks. I decided to use this over Photoshop because it was the program I was more accustomed to. An example of us using it was when we did the images for the game cover and the magazine advert. Because originally on the the magazine advert, we had the picture of the dark alleyway and then we had the picture of me, two separate photos. So what we did was we made one layer, which was the dark alleyway, and then we took the other layer, which is the picture of me in front of the green screen. And then what I did was I used the eraser tool to isolate the picture of me so that it didn't have the green in the background anymore. Used a tiny bit of the Magic Wand tool to get rid of a certain colour. Then used the blur tool to soften the edges of me so that they look like I fit more into the alleyway. And then we resized me to make it so that I was in proportion with it.
We also used Photoshop just to get a filter for what you see on the magazine advert and the game case, which gives us the look of the comic book or graphic novel sort of look of George Frost. And this was the cutout filter because we thought this gave a good comic book. It looked like it's been drawn in sort of lines that we really liked. It also gave the effect of the like a film noir poster, or you know, film noir sort of game poster for our magazine advert.
We also used defont.com, which is basically a website with lots of copyright-free fonts on it, which we just browsed looking for the right font and eventually found. And sfx.com, freesfx.com, which, as you can tell from the name, it's free sound effects. We use this for things such as the gunshot in the first trailer, pulling the hammer back in the first trailer, the actual sound of knocking the person out in the first trailer, and the thunder and lightning in the second trailer.
And the stabbing sound as well.
And the stabbing sound.
For the music in the first trailer, we chose the song Too Old to Die Young by Brother Dedge. We felt this was an upbeat, fast song that it reflected the action elements of that trailer. We got permission to use the music from the record company itself, so we wouldn't be invading any copyright issues. We also had to heavily edit down the music in order for everything to fit properly in the first trailer. So we have all the things we wanted reflected in the trailer, like when the lyrics are round and round we go, the camera's panning round George Frost, and we wanted the signing up sort of fade to black to be Too Old to Die Young as a sort of a kind of like a tagline for the game sort of thing. It's something you remember it. Do you remember it? Do you remember it, boy?
Yeah, you would start like, you'd get it in your head, maybe you'd like sing the line after you've watched the trailer, and then like maybe subconsciously the game would be stuck in your head as well as the song.
Round and round and round we go, where it stops nobody knows it. Too old to die young now.
For the music in the second trailer, we decided it'd be a good idea to come up with our own theme for the game ourselves. So I would compose the music that you hear in the second trailer, and I did this by, it's just a guitar and a bass, and how I did this was I used a recording and editing software called Cubase, and I mic'd up a couple of amps, a guitar and a bass amp. So we used an SM57, which would then capture the audio waves, send it to the control box, and then record it in the software. Once I had the music recorded, that gave me time to edit it, so I could sort of get a dark, echoey reverb sound. I did this by adding effects to it, and that you hear in the second trailer. And we thought the music, which was very slow tempo, sort of conveyed the mood of the character, and that's what we thought would be best.
To capture the footage in the first place, we used a Sony HD camera and a tripod. We then exported it onto the computer and then imported it onto Adobe Premiere, which we used to edit the entire film together. While using Premiere, we used such things such as colour correction to make things darker and give a slight tint to things. We used the spotlight tool as well, because originally in the bar scene between George Frost and Sam, it was quite a light room and we wanted it to look more like a bar, so we used the spotlight tool to make it so it looked like it was just one light going down onto the two people. We also used transitions such as fade to black, fade to white we used when doing the lightning, and some of the sound was edited on there as well, so we used exponential fade when fading out things quite quickly, constant gain when we were blending between the two, and I think that was it.
That was it. In the second trailer we also used Adobe After Effects, and you see this when the berries in the foreground are kept red and the rest of the scene is black and white. We did this by creating a mask. This is so one of the masks is black and white and the other is in colour still. And then we selected the berries so we knew what colour to keep red, and we tracked that throughout the shot, keeping the berries red, and then once we did this we removed the colour, making it black and white, but keeping the berries themselves red.
When doing the print data packs, we used a graphics pad to do some of the erasing on the pictures. This was just so that we could have like a more natural flow of a pen on a pad instead of using a mouse. It allowed us to go around things more accurately and do things pixel by pixel, so it was a bit more meticulous than it would have been otherwise.
We also used a shot in the second trailer where you see the camera being buried. It's meant to be from the perspective of the victim that George Frost is burying. And we got the idea to do this from AMC's show Breaking Bad. We thought it was a really good shot, and we might be able to use that in our own piece. And literally to create the shot, all we did was bought a little wicker bin and a lasagna dish. And we put the camera in the bin and put the dish on top, and we buried it in a hole in Hopper's Woods, which came out. It had a really good shot, and everything in the shot sounded really nice, and we were quite proud of it. The only drawback we had was that you could see the camera in the reflection of the glass, and so to correct this, we simply went onto the title part of Adobe Premiere, created a black title, just a black title square, and covered the camera in the shot with it, and it just turns out perfectly. You can't see it at all.
It's fine.
It's great.
That's it. Hope you enjoy the trailer and the print artifacts.
Thank you for watching this.
Yeah, thank you. Bye.
Bye.